Welcome to Oddball. I'm Amino Hassan. That's Izzy Gutierrez wearing a Canada jersey. I think he might be trolling, ladies and gentlemen. He assures me he's not. But
last night, my Panthers won in Game 7. This happens to be a Sam Reinhart jersey from when he played in the Four Nations for Canada. So it's in a way supporting my Panthers, but also shout out to SGA for making it to the conference finals for the first time.
We'll talk all about SGA and the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are headed to the conference finals. But first, we got to start with the scene in New York City.
Oh.
They obviously defeated the Celtics in Game 6, 119-81. It's the first time the Knicks have made it to the Eastern Conference Finals since the year 2000. When Rick Brunson
Where's
was
Conan O'Brien when you need him?
Yeah. The long nightmare is finally over, and they intend to celebrate. The Knicks fans do. Yep, this is them just celebrating and like normal people would, very calmly and very
second
soberly.
Round. I mean, like, I love the enthusiasm. I love it. But you gotta, this is like a Tom Thibodeau situation. Save some minutes for the rest of the playoffs, please. Like, save some city for the rest of the playoffs. You can't tear it down when you're just getting through the conference semifinals. Whew.
Yeah, this was, I mean, I had friends who went to the game, and like my request was the same. Like, just videotape it for me, record the madness, record everything that's happening, because I know that environment for a fan must be incredible. But Izzy, there's another question, and I think it's a solid question. The Knicks being good, that's good for business, right? For the NBA, yes.
It's good for business. It's good for, I mean, I wouldn't want to be out on those streets with my take of I would trade Giannis for Jalen Brunson 100 out of 100 times, because then I might get attacked literally by the fans. The same way Brian Windhorst kind of got attacked
he didn't get attacked.
His take got attacked. It was a take attack.
Yeah.
And but look, I do think that this level of enthusiasm, like, this is exactly what you want from your fans, because, like, look, when the Warriors won it, right? And they started going on their streak, they hadn't won it in 40 years. Did you feel like the fans properly portrayed that amount of angst, that level of despair and desire to win it? Because it wasn't anything close to this.
Yeah, that's okay. So that's a great comp, because yes, I would say the scene outside of Oracle or really anywhere in the Bay Area after winning the championship, it wasn't like this. But then again, they won the championship in Cleveland, that Game 6. So I don't know, had that been a home game, had they clinched at home, would that have made a difference? Look, part of it is the suffering part, right? And I think the suffering in New York is deeper than that of the Warriors, because the Warriors had a buildup of, we're starting to get good.
And nobody was mocking the Warriors.
And
everybody was mocking the Knicks along the way.
Yes, absolutely. So I do think that, but again, like, yes, these are the things that I don't know. People like to say them out loud, why we keep it a secret. But yes, when New York and LA are good, that's good for business. Yes.
Well, I'll tell you other reasons. I mean, just flat out obvious reasons why. You know, the celebrity is on the court. You're like, hey, that guy loves this team. He's living or dying. She's living or dying with this team. I'm on board with that. Even if you're not a Knicks fan, even if you're a Timothy Chalamet fan, or if you're a Kylie Jenner fan, you're probably like, I know what they're doing. They're at a Knicks game. Maybe I'll be, caught off guard and I'll fall in love with the Knicks too.
Izzy, sure, that's kind of nice. That's not the main reason. The main reason is it's the largest TV market in the league. And when the Knicks play, people tune in. So many of them are Knicks fans across the country, might I add, because so many people come from New York. And then you lump onto that all the people who hate people from New York, who always talk about how New York is so much better. I can't believe this isn't open at night. I can't believe I can't catch it. Like, all those complaints. Every city in America has this group of people from New York who keep complaining about why New York is so much better than the place they live in now. And those local people learn to hate New York as a result. And so when the Knicks are good, it's easy to watch and hate if you are one of those people, or watch and love if you're one of those people. Versus, again, Golden State is a great example. It wasn't until they became a dynasty that people get trained to hate them if you didn't love them, right?
I would say the Knicks would be universally hated right now if they were winning a lot. But because, like you said,
No, if the Knicks were the Warriors, I mean, we would go insane, right? Yeah. In the same way that when the Patriots were running the NFL, it was the Brady
got
mania.
Sick of that real quick.
Insanity, right? So, but I guess my point is this: dynasties are good for business. The hardcore people want parity; they want different teams. Dynasties are good for business. Absent a dynasty, like the Warriors were, like the Heat were before that. Absent that, the next best thing is, what's the city everyone either loves or hates? I'll name them for you. New York, LA, Boston. People will always tune in to see those three teams play, and either they're rooting for them because they have ties to the area or because that's just the team they grew up rooting for, or they will go hard against them because everyone knows an annoying Knicks fan, an annoying Laker fan, and an annoying Celtic fan.
I was going to throw San Antonio on that list, but that's just Charles Barkley, I think. So we basically nailed this prediction. If you want to get technical, maybe we didn't, but we said Boston had all of its favorites in every department except for the clutch part. So if they kept it close, the Knicks would win. And then after Jason Tatum went down, all that stuff went out the window. Yeah. I don't think we talked about it enough in terms of just giving the proper credit where it's due, but Tibbs, pretty good, outcoached Missoula, I would say. I don't think there was that much really maneuvering going on in that series, but there was enough.
I mean, absolutely there was maneuvering. How about stop shooting all those damn threes? You're up 20. Like, run some clock. Get to the free throw line. Punish these guys with your advantages. He absolutely got outcoached. And by the way, because of the euphoria and everything we saw on 7th Avenue afterward, kind of swept under the rug. Jaylen Brown fouled out in 3 quarters.
That was wild. I am checking out of this. That's the same thing where people say whenever Steph Curry's not in a game, Draymond tends to foul out or get ejected. That was Jaylen saying, I want no part of this. If Jason Tatum doesn't have to be a part of this, why should I? That was kind of BS.
Was it that, or was that Joe Mazzulla? You can make a sub every now and again.
Do you think that was Jaylen Brown sort of being defiant, saying, if you're not going to play me normally, like, I'm just going to go ahead and foul out? Like, I don't think that. You think?
I just think I put that on Mazzulla because Jaylen Brown could do that. Maybe he did. Maybe it doesn't matter. Somebody had the control to avoid that from happening, and he didn't. He didn't exercise that control.
Was there any similarities there between LeBron taking off the jersey, going through the tunnel in 2010 after he lost to the Celtics, and Jaylen Brown now basically checking out of a Celtics uniform because it might be his last game?
Okay, I see what's happening. We're doing a Miami thing right now. All right.
I'm wearing a Canada jersey. How am I doing a Miami thing?
Because it's red. That's why. And by the way, what's under that jersey?
It's a Matthew Tkachuk t-shirt, but that's not Miami Heat related either. That's still Fort Lauderdale.
South Florida. There you go. All right. So, but we did have an Iciest Play of the Week, Izzy, didn't we?
Yeah. Let's do the Iciest Play of the Week. It's back to the Knicks for a second. We got to shout out one Knicks fan in particular, man after my own heart. He was celebrating the win by, getting to work in wherever you can, man. You got to be careful with the grip strength on these things, right? Because it's a wide pole there. So for a second, if you don't really focus, that's going to happen.
Oh my God, that's insane.
That's quite unfortunate.
To the audio listeners, this dude was doing pull-ups on like the light pole of, I guess, where you get 7th Ave, the corner of 7th Ave and 33rd or whatever. And so, yes, that is very high. Think about like when you're driving down a street in New York, those signs have to be high so everyone could see them. And this dude was doing pull-ups, lost his grip, collapsed. Everyone's like, oh, shit. And nope, he just does some push-ups. He does push-ups to prove that he's all right.
And for the listening audience, my man was caked up. All right, the Iciest Play of the Week is presented by Jägermeister. Serve it cold or don't serve it at all. Jägermeister, damn, that's cold. For more, visit Jägermeister.com. Drink responsibly.
Izzy, it's a really good question. Like, if they win the title, like, will there be a New York to speak of afterward?
So this, I always think of, the college town that wins the national championship, right? And this is exactly what they do, but they do it after the national championship. Yeah. So, and you were saying earlier,
not at the Elite Eight. They don't do it at the Elite Eight.
Not at the Elite Eight. They do not do this. Maybe when you get to the Final Four, there might be a sort of a soft opening, right, to the craziness. Right. But it's not like this. This screams like championship. What would the championship parade look like? You have to one up this at some point. It's just, I'm not trying to kill their vibes, all right?
Right.
But it's a lot. Like, save some energy for later, because then maybe Brian Windhorst is going to have like security with him next time, and you can't have that fun when he walks out of MSG. Like, you got to just pace yourself a little bit.
Yeah. It just, look, to be fair, Chicago won 6 times, and every single time they acted a fool. Like, I got a friend of mine, rapper named Omen, who's from Chicago, a big Bulls fan. He's like, oh, you guys, look at you, like it's your first rodeo or whatever. I said, you guys torched your city every time you won. So, like, let's not do celebration Olympics here. Having said that,
it was after the win,
after the title,
not after the second round.
Yeah, second round is pretty bad. All right, real quick, I do want to address this. Last week on Le Batard show, I said Spike Lee must be stripped of his number one fandom because the guy went to the Met Gala instead of going to a Knick game or watching a Knick game. So I suggested maybe it's Chalamet. I don't know. If the door's open, I'm gonna tell you this. After Game 6, this is what Chalamet did, and this, to me, ladies and gentlemen, this is number one fan material. Because
this is so wild.
This dude is as A-list as it gets right now. This is him right now, the peak of his powers in Hollywood, and he doesn't just open the window or wave at the fans. He allows them. He's ready. If they were to drag him out and tear him apart in fits of joy, that dude was ready. He was down for the cause. Meanwhile, we don't have this video. Spike Lee out of a sunroof. Oh, remove. You can't touch me. Chalamet, number one fan.
You know, you said the 2 words that explains it all. Right now. And Chalamet is the right now Knicks fans. There was a little while ago, I was in Chicago for a flag football tournament. I stopped at the Nike Town. Elevator doors open because I got lazy, didn't want to take the stairs. Who's in the elevator? Spike Lee. Oh. I look around and I'm like, does nobody else know that that's Spike Lee in the elevator? And apparently nobody did. And so I jumped in the elevator with my friends, took a little selfie with Spike, did the whole talk, da-da-da. Hey, I know you, you're on TV. And then when the elevator doors open, no crazy crowds. Yep. Nowhere. Try that, Chalamet. Have him go somewhere in the middle of what's that Miracle Mile? What is that thing called?
It's called the Miracle Mile.
Oh, okay, great. Have him do that and see if you don't have a bunch of fans recognize him. I think you're right. It's 100% his team right now.
I'll tell you what it would look like. It would look like that video we just showed. People literally just clawing at him. Man
of the people.
Speaking of Knicks fans acting insane, the comments on this post are absurd. This is Keith Pompey posted this one gotta go. Gave us 5 options there. Patrick Ewing, Shaquille O'Neal, Hakeem Olajuwon, David Robinson, and Nikola Jokic. And to me, Izzy, like, this is really a conversation of who do you think's better, David Robinson or Patrick Ewing, right? The other 3 guys, they're goated. They're gone. So we're really coming down to the last spot on, I guess, this Mount Rushmore of centers from the 90s to beyond. And
are you giving Hakeem the pass because he got 2 titles?
No, I'm going to give him a pass because he's one of the top 10 players to ever play this game. That's why I'm giving him the pass, right? Okay. Same thing with Shaquille O'Neal. Same thing with Nikola Jokic, I think, has entered that conversation.
I would say you might have a different thought on Hakeem Olajuwon if he didn't win the 2 titles. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, like,
a little shorter, needs all.
Let's say he won 1. How about that? He split 1, right? Won 1 and lost the other. I still would have. This dude was amazingly influential to how people viewed the center position and literally generations of players studying how he did footwork.
Nobody goes to David Robinson footwork camp in the summer. So You're right. Look, to me, it's painful to say it because he was so damn good, but it's David Robinson.
What were the comments? You guys, the Knicks fans acting insane in the comments. Do we actually have the comments or we don't care? We don't care. That's all right. All right, let's
comments to come.
Let's talk about Game 7. All right, welcome back to Oddball. There was a Game 7 yesterday. Oklahoma City came out victorious. There's Izzy with his Canada jersey. Now he's trying to jump on the bandwagon after I had all these questions. The Oklahoma City Thunder closed out the Nuggets with a dominant 125-93 victory. This leads to a swarm of questions about the Nuggets' future. Let's see what Jokic has to say about what Denver has in store.
We will see, But from now, like next couple of days, there's going to be a lot of beer probably.
Canadian beer, maybe some Labatt Blue.
Oh, Molson or Labatt? You're a Molson guy. I'm a Molson Ice. Molson Ice. Izzy, how surprised were you by how that whole thing turned out?
Well, at 21-10, Nuggets were ahead in the first quarter. I was like, boom, I nailed this one. And then the game just went entirely the other direction. There was a lot to not really like about the Nuggets. I will say this. I started that game saying to myself, I think Aaron Gordon might be like top 3 favorite players in the league for me now, because it's not just how he plays, but the man played through a grade 2 hamstring sprain now, or strain. I will say that like maybe it's in a different spot than Steph Curry's. Maybe it allows him to do different things. He can sort of control his movement a little bit more. But no, I'm just saying for comparison. I'm not saying Steph should have played, but if you want to, that grade 1 for Steph legitimately kept him out as many as 10 plus days. This grade 2, this dude didn't miss a game. So he was struggling, right? He maybe didn't feel that, but he was taking his chances to go, and he played all right. But, when you see Michael Porter Jr. at the very beginning, you're just like, all right, that guy's not going to give you much of anything. And then I'll just say this about Jamal Murray. When will his excuse be released? Because he did not have a very good series at all. Come on, and man. If you got to give me one game, you got to
take that Canada jersey off if you're going to say that. You got to take that jersey.
SGA's doing it for the 6, not Jamal anymore. It's his job.
So, all right, so I thought I picked the Thunder to win the series. I picked the Thunder to win it all. So I expected them to win. I expected it even to not be a close game. Mm-hmm. I didn't expect that though. I mean, that was an ass whooping I could not have seen coming. And like you, Izzy, I thought at the beginning of the game, Denver had they threw a wrinkle out there. They came out with the zone. Oklahoma City couldn't figure it out. They couldn't get any shooting going really all night long. The 3-point shot never really worked for them. And so I'm like, okay, man, we're going to have some, what I like to call legume cutting time. And guys are going to have to really dig deep.
It is a legume, isn't it?
Then the second, yes, because it's peanuts are not nuts. In the second quarter, it was turnover, layup, turnover, layup, turnover, layup. It was like watching my kid who's like 14 playing AAU. That's how every AAU game is, by the way. Everyone full court presses the entire time, and then one of those teams is going to start coughing it up, and then it's layup, 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 layup. And I tell my kid all the time, like, if you guys could just get it up the floor.
Yeah. And if you're playing a team that's still, let's say, has to take its lumps, right? In the playoffs, and you get them to that nervous energy 21-10 spot in the first quarter, that's when you got to go. That's when the champion heart of a champion kicks in, and you step on their neck and you don't let them breathe. Instead, it's like you said, it turned around like that, which gave the Thunder all the confidence in the world.
I mean, I won't even call it like not having the killer instinct. It was like you turned it over 22 times. And like many of those were live ball turnovers, right? If you're throwing it out of bounds, if you're traveling, at least we get a chance to set up. But how many times was it Jalen Williams, steal, layup, Caruso, poke away, steal, layup? Like it was just that old. And we're talking about 2, 3, 4 possessions in a row. The second quarter started with 2 of those in a row.
This is one of those crazy math situations too. Sorry, I mean, but Alex Caruso, your guy who was covering Jokic most of the time, plus 40 in a game that they won by 32. So it's just like, wow, that guy did everything that you need a backup big to do, and he did it amazingly. There's so many things that are incredible about that. Number one, the idea that Jokic could not. I mean, I'm gonna say it. Give me shades of LeBron and JJ Barea. How are you not just horsing this guy, right? Number two, that the Thunder even decided to go to that, given that Jalen Williams, the big Jalen Williams, had done a pretty good job in the series. I would have been like, yeah, well, like, he didn't even get off the bench, is he, until the game was pretty much in hand. No, this was an incredible masterstroke by Mark Daigneault and an incredible performance by Alex Caruso. The game of his lifetime, honestly. When it's like, I'm not guarding Jokic on a switch. I'm guarding him. That's me. And I'm going to fight. And you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of 2 other times in NBA history. There was a series, I want to say, where Don Nelson had Eric Strickland guarding Shaquille O'Neal. Maybe it was just a regular season game, but that was a while ago. Eric Strickland was like 6'3", 6'4". And then more recently, Don Nelson coaching the Warriors, having Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes and Al Herring, all these like undersized guys guarding Dirk. And they did the same thing. They got under him. They took away his legs. They were pestering. They were quick hands. And he just couldn't get comfortable. And I thought what Alex Caruso did and what Mark Daigneault decided to do, that was just masterful. That's the stuff that makes a championship DVD at the end of the year. For sure. And here's what so you go into a game 7 and you're the Denver Nuggets and you've got Joker and you've seen how you've been playing. You see Aaron Gordon's not right. You see MPJ's not right. You see Jamal hasn't given you much. What is your answer? Joker, you got to give us one of those. You got to give us a game 7 crazy, like go get yours, right? What's the Thunder counter to that? we'll just play crazy defense because we know that their one option is that guy. So good luck if you're strong enough in a game 7 in the second round after you played all season, backing up Caruso the entire time, knowing every time you even pivot, there's going to be somebody else smacking at the ball, maybe turning it over, maybe. And so like, that's going to be an entire game of you having to do that. Good luck getting yourself your 50 or 60 point triple double in this game when we're playing that crazed defense. And it worked because it's this point of the year. And that's almost always that great, crazy defense is going to work over a one-man team.
All right. Let me ask you a quick question before we start getting into Denver and their issues. Do you believe that the Thunder now have gone through the appropriate amount of growth to be a champion? Was this the lumps they needed to take?
I don't think so. I think they still got one more of those to go because they haven't gotten this far. They haven't won. One more lump, please. I think that they still need to prove that. Now, they're going up against another team that still has to do that on their resume as well, right? They have to get past the third round. They have to get to a finals. They have to prove that they're, championship ready. And so I think that they are more of the two, the seniors, right? In terms of what they've done more in the regular season, they've done more with this particular group. And so maybe Minnesota has more to prove, but I think in sort of the landscape of basketball, I still think the Thunder have a little bit more to prove.
So after the game, Aaron Gordon said this.
I would really, really appreciate it if there were a couple of days in between games in the playoffs instead of every other day. The days in between games, not just off day and a travel day, but a travel day and a recovery day. Just two days. I think the product of the game would be a lot better. I think there'd be just a better product on the floor, just to give all these professional athletes just one more day of rest, and you would see a higher level of basketball, probably less blowouts.
Man, I would really, really appreciate it if he decided not to throw that vest over that shirt. Like that was kind of a throwaway decision there by him. But I mean, the hurt guy can't really say that. Like we've done this NBA thing for so long. We've played this playoffs for so long. I mean, you reminded me that before they used to have back-to-back playoff games. Like
you play Saturday
what is he
and
complaining
Sunday
about?
Game 3 and 4 would be Saturday, Sunday. You would literally be on the road for a weekend, and that's it.
There's only so many days in the year. We can't get the non-back-to-backs that everybody complains about. We can't get the longer break for the All-Star game that everybody complained about. We just can't get all of this and now add days to the playoffs. You'll be playing year-round. And look, being able to maintain or just be on the court, be available, be healthy, that's just part of the NBA experience. Right. Like we say we feel bad for these teams that don't have, okay, that's all part of the game. And I'll even throw this last one out here because I know you're ready to go. I mean, nobody at the end of a season complains. You maybe have a handful, like that 1 year Magic was hurt, a handful of years where you're just like, man, that wouldn't have been the true champion if so-and-so were healthy. Okay, you can have that debate a couple of times, a few times, but every other year, nope, because again, it's just part of the deal.
So I want to really quickly go to Jokic, what Jokic had to say after the game, because it ties in. Quote, "We definitely need more depth. It seems like the teams that have longer rotations, longer bench, are the ones who are winning. Indiana, OKC, Minnesota." Yeah. You see a connection there, folks? Maybe if they had a full rotation, you wouldn't feel tired of needing multiple days off.
What do they say about it's not just players that win championships, it's organizations win championships. You got to be prepared. Like there are probably 5 or 6 guys on any given team that say, you only need to playoffs. We'll be good the whole way. Not true. You're going to need these other guys to help you along the way. And that's where the foresight comes in.
All right. One of the, lightning rods for this series as we look beyond it is Russell Westbrook. He didn't have a great series by the numbers, but I would argue that he did enough to impact the Thunder, the Nuggets winning throughout the playoffs. He's making $3.3 million as a player option for the same amount next year. Izzy, what do you see for the future of Russell Westbrook?
I understand, the moments that he has are good, especially for a player who's making the minimum. You shouldn't judge him as harshly as you do Michael Porter Jr., who's making $30+ million. But I look at those numbers, man, and I see it averages, and I see what he does over the course of time, and that's hard to win that way. So I'm not sure, unless he a much reduced role even to now. I don't know if it's like a sure thing that he comes back.
My thing is this. I think for what they paying him, he did exactly what he needed to do. I would point the finger at the guy making $30+ million, not $3 million. And that's Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah.
All right. That's going to do it for Oddball.